Hi, it's Bato. Before this reel starts, I quickly wanted to say I'm really appreciative of the positive reception the first video got, and I plan on putting this kind of thing out on a regular basis, either weekly or bi-weekly. There's a ton of you out there just like me who love music and want to be the best producer or engineer or artist you can be, so I think there's a lot of appeal in this kind of condensed motivational content. So yeah, enjoy the video and go crazy in 2020. Peace.
It's really motivating to do this and to connect with you guys, and it inspires my creativity. I love teaching, right? I love helping, and so just wanted to thank you guys. Music's like one of the raddest fucking things in the world, and it brings light into the darkness and stuff. And so to be able to do that and to help you guys do that is just like, it's my dream. And so you guys are, part of that dream. And I just want to thank you for everything.
It was the best 2 months ever because I didn't need to go to school. I made like melodies all day. Yeah, it's pretty fun. It was so pretty fun, It's still so fun. I mean, like, with music and with my samples, I'm here right now sitting in Los Angeles, and I never thought I will come to America ever, and like music brought me here, and I meet all those people like you, we meet each other and stuff, and I meet Southside, I meet artists. Like, that's a dream. Like,
right.
I could never believe this. Like, if you told me this 2 years ago, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
No, I had said that to ask just like what is it like going from, a normal life to like being in the studio in the hills type shit.
Yeah, no, it's dope. But the truth is, bro, like I'm really a studio rat, bro. If you put me in the biggest house in the world and there's not a studio in it, I'm not going to enjoy myself. I'm in the studio like 90% of my day, every day,
Music's legitimately saved my life over and over and over again. And, Pink said something, the pop artist Pink, but she said something to the effect of, that music had saved her life when she was a kid, growing up, and that pop music today isn't going to save anybody's life. And like, I guess that really is partly what it comes down to is, it's not just saving their life, but it's changing their life. I mean, I can't even describe how many times and ways my life has been changed because of my relationship with music, right? Long after like my life was in jeopardy, but like, just becoming an artist and what you have to sacrifice from your ego, right? What you have to sacrifice from your like fears and like what you have to be able to like power through, even like when shit's going crazy, like in your personal life, right? Or when shit's going crazy in your head because of like all the things you love and hate about your art at the same time, just while you're trying to create new stuff. I mean, it's crazy. And I don't have to tell you that.
Tracy, I used to play the beat and he'll write to it, which is, I love that when people write, rather than just go in there and freestyle, because the song comes out really good. And Pete, same way, he writes, so the song comes out really good. And I used to be big fans of them before I even made songs with them, so I get really happy when the song like gets a finished project. They do really good when they do their shit. I'm Tracy's biggest fan. I was at this weird party in downtown, and I seen him, and he was looking weird as shit like he always is in the corner. So I walk up to him and I'm like really geeked up and drunk, and I'm like, hey, I'm about to fan out on you. And I told him I was just kidding. And I was like, oh, I made beats for Famous Dex and stuff, I fuck with you. And he was like, hit me up. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna hit you up, I'm gonna just see you again. And we gonna link. Like 2 weeks later, we see each other again. And we finally made like our first song after like 7 days of just hanging out. And those pictures. Little Tracy picture.
I'm on some other shit, some take care of my mama shit. I cannot love a bitch, fuck them bust like guns on that bitch. I'm pumped up, bitch, I'm smoking on some gasoline. She like.
What's your process like making music these days? Do you make much? Not so much? How would you say?
I haven't been making much music, man. My focus is not there. My confidence is not there. What makes me feel the best right now.
Yes.
And what makes me feel the best is when I just do these random kind of instrumental kind of things. They make me feel the most rebellious.
Yes.
I don't know. I have a really rebellious spirit. I don't like to go with the flow, really. I don't know why.
Yes.
But I just feel best when I don't.
Yes.
So I have to honor that.
I completely understand.
I have to honor that in a way,
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think so much of it isn't to be decided.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's not I don't think it's to be figured out. I think it's more to be, I think you start making a lot of things with no thinking of what it's supposed to be or who's it for or what anyone else is going to think, but just get in the habit of making a lot.
That's what I got to get back to.
Yeah, just make a lot. And then at some point in that process, you'd be like, I really like this. It did. And you didn't know, like through that whole process, you don't know when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's not a decision you make, and it's not an intellectual idea where I have a vision and I'm going to make this thing. It doesn't happen like that. Rarely happens like that. It happens more just having fun, making things, no stakes.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So we're in an age where it's a lot of producers where they're working over the internet with a lot of artists, you know what I'm saying? And you talk about, you started engineering and producing at the same time. So, you know what I'm saying, you might have like a benefit over other producers when it comes to your beats and stuff like that. So for producers who never link with artists in the studio, what advice would you give them, like when they link with the artists?
I love that question. That's one of the best questions I've ever been asked. I'm going to answer it very thoroughly. Okay, so when you have a beat, right, you have to say to yourself, what's missing? The fucking vocal. Yeah, okay, when you have a beat, that's great, but now you need to say, how do I get a great vocal on my track, right? So I'd tell every producer that you don't need to be necessarily a master level engineer, but you need to be ready in any situation to take a great beat you have, go into a studio, open the computer, put the right plugins that you figured out. Maybe you just Googled all day and you just said, I just need to get a good vocal chain. So when they're recording, they sound right. You know what I'm saying? But if you can get somebody sounding right, do you know how much happier they are when they're recording? And how much more likely they are to come back to you? Or even be like, yo, I'll bring you in on this record. I just need you to come like record me and make sure the vocal's perfect. You see what I'm saying? So I'd tell any producer, like, and mixing is different than recording. I'm talking about recording. There's a little bit of mixing involved, just getting them sounding right, but it's really just being able to record them right, and you'll realize that you'll be able to capitalize on moments with people where you can get that song done, not just like a loose rough.
I have to be like, yo, bro, can you get an engineer?
Yeah, and they believe you. Like when you know what you're doing, like artists believe you, and they like to have that motivation where you're like, all right, I like that. Are we going to the second verse? I got like the second verse. Like, you get that first verse done, done, and then you're like, all right,
time to crank
verse. It up. But you need to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I'd tell them just get that vocal template right and be ready, and that's it.
Bro, I know a lot of producers, I get this question a lot. They're like, yo, which one do I need to, I guess they don't really understand the difference between mixing, mastering, and producing, especially mixing and mastering.
So I'm going to clear it up. It's so simple.
Break it down for us. Let's
Producing is when you're writing music, sampling music, putting drums, when you're doing rhythm and melody and together. Think about it. That's simple. You're organizing things in sequence. There's melody involved. You're producing. You start engineering when you're not changing melody or rhythm. You're only changing how things sound. So I might put an EQ on the synth, put an EQ on the snare, compress this, that, right? It's mixing. Now, when you're mixing, you have a bunch of tracks and you can edit everything. It's kind of how you think about a studio. Mastering is literally just one file, right? That you get. So when you get something to master, it's one file, maybe the vocals separately on occasion. And then you load that file into your software and you edit it to maximize its loudness, clarity, and things like that, and sonic width. So it's really just the final step of making something sound big, loud, and great, right? But the truth is, a lot of the magic's in the mix. Like you can only master as good as the person that mixed it sent it to you. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of different people that use a lot of different processes I've talked to. I will simplify it to this: just look and listen to your speakers, and wherever they're at, doing whatever you're doing. If you love it, and you can stem it just how it sounds like that. Give it to the engineer like that. Just listen to the speakers. They're the ones talking, not you. So if you love what the speakers are doing, Maybe you've tested it on multiple speakers. There's nothing you have to be worried about with rules. You see what I'm saying? If that shit sounds hot, stem it and send it. You don't have to ask about it, right? And maybe you have to practice and get your own way. But I have a certain way of doing things that is often very different. But I'll meet other producers that do something very similar or something like that. But everyone's different. You know, there's a lot of different ways to make great music or mix great music. But it's just like when those speakers are rocking, you're good. You know what I'm saying? And some people like they won't trust that process. I'm like, bro, they'll have someone tell them something and they'll start doing something and it might negatively affect their mix. And I'm like, bro, just listen to the speakers mainly. Let everything else just be noise. You know? When X played "Look at Me," it was just like crazy to see, like, you know, like where the scene had started, and then it was like they were like, "Where's that?" Hell of people there, and they, you know what I mean, like everyone knew the lyrics for that shit, and I was like, wow, it's different, a little different when you like see it for the first time like that. Like all the shows were crazy.
So like when you first started making beats and making songs and stuff like that, were you just uploading them? Like what were you doing? Were you trying to get them to artists?
To be honest, I really I didn't send them to anyone. I just keep it for myself, and I just waited for the perfect moment when I'm good enough. Because a lot of people right now in the community like are making beats for half a year and sending out shit. And like that's the reason why every fucking like it's so hard nowadays to get it to an artist, because they get so many trash beats. And that's the thing, like a lot of people don't do. They don't wait till it's like perfect, you know. It's never going to be perfect, but like, you know, you need to know when it's time to send those beats. And that's something nobody can tell you. You need to figure it out for yourself when you're ready. And I had this moment when I said like, okay, I'm ready. But then I sent like beats and it doesn't work. Because probably my drums were so ass, you know. Drums were so fucking ass.
Yeah.
When I listen to this shit, it's so fucking bad. But like, I realized that like everyone taught me, yo, what the fuck is this melody and shit? And then I started to realize, oh yeah, I had an EDM placement only because of my melodies. Oh yeah, and everybody fucks with the melodies. And then I was like, okay, I think melodies is the thing I'm really good at. And yeah, this is how I started to make samples and sending it out to people. And actually the first US artist that used like my samples was Big Head. And it's so funny because we're like at Big Head's house right now.
Right.
Yeah, but like I don't know what he's doing. He's sleeping probably. And yeah, that's how it became everything. All the producers also want like money for everything, you know. But I get it because like you take your time, and in this time you could make money somewhere else, you know. So I get it why you need to pay for collabs. And then yeah, I said like, yo, I have 5 samples. I ignored the 200 and I said like, yeah, I have 5 samples. So let me send it to you. And he gave me the email, and I sent the samples to him. So I don't know which one was it, but I think it was the first one that I bought the email address, because Southside. Okay, it was like this. The next day I woke up. Now the next week I woke up and got myself ready for school and shit. I went to the toilet and bathroom. And then I look at my phone because I was like check the phone like after like half an hour when I wake up. And I check my phone and I was like, oh fuck, I have 12 missed calls from a plus one number. And I knew like +1 is like for USA. And I was like, who the fuck was calling me? I called back and it was Southside. Yeah, so
Dang, that's
that's
pretty
crazy.
good.
And then I remember it to this day. Like I remember it was like yesterday. I was sitting with my boxers in the room, and I was like this, and my face turned red. And how is it called when you high blood pressure?
Yeah.
And I had the whole day high blood pressure that my head was hurting a lot.
Yeah.
And this didn't go away for a week because I was so pumped, so hyped that this happened. And I remember it like it was the best moment in my life. I just randomly would sit there in the room like this with boxers, just getting ready for school. And then my mom was looking at me like, what's going on? And I said, fuck it, I don't go to school anymore. And she was like mad as shit at me because like, you need to know I was like the worst student ever. I dropped out of 3 schools. I went to 2 jobs, quitted the 2 jobs. I was like the worst kid ever, you know. Only smoked weed all the fucking damn time. and it was crazy, you know. And then I said to my mom, I'm not going to school anymore. She was like almost getting the belt and wanted to slap the shit out of me, you know, like, and I was like, oh fuck, what? And yeah, I'm going to sign you, bro. Ciao. Peace, you know, and it was gone. And it was so fast. It was like 1 second. And yeah, that's the thing. And then I really didn't go to school that day. I was like, fuck it, you know. How is it called?
Leverage, like negotiate.
Yeah, negotiate a little bit, you know. And I got like a pretty fucking amazing contract. When I say the contract to some people, they say like, how the fuck did you get it? And it's just like, people need to get a fucking lawyer, man. What's the problem? It wasn't that hard. Like, get 2 lawyers. I got 2 lawyers, but I stayed at one because the one other guy was like a very good guy, and the other one was like, he doesn't give a fuck because he worked like for Kendrick Lamar and shit, and that's why he doesn't.
So what'd you do? Call 2 entertainment lawyers?
Yeah, 2 entertainment lawyers. I just randomly typed in on Google.
You think a lot of people are just like, man, they'll take whatever. Like they don't even. Like,
yeah, they're dumb as fuck.
Think about trying to get.
It's
more
like when you
whatever.
get in the industry, it's not about the love. It's not about the passion anymore. It's like making money, and I love money. That's the best thing ever. Making like with music, making money. It's like crazy. It's amazing. It's like my hobby. I work 10 hours and it feels like 2 hours for me. It's so amazing. Make something else and then go back, and that's the lifestyle I live. And it's always like I always make like 8 melodies a day. Like in LA, I'm now in LA, and I keep myself like push myself really hard because I'm every day with Southside and give him samples. I try to make like 20. But like it's a motivation, you know. I'm in America. I need to push myself so hard, you know.
Yeah.
But in Germany, I keep it healthy, balanced, so I can always have like new ideas.
Right.
Listen to like a song that it's easy with the chord progressions, and not like jazz. Like jazz has like a lot of it goes down.
Improvisation,
And that's the thing. Like our human brains love it simple, I think, and that's a secret formula. I think that's the best advice I can give everyone. Make it simple. They love like when it's simple, it's perfect.
And then what about as far as like effects plugins and stuff? Like what are some?
Oh, I
some
can
gems
talk
you
about
get?
that. I can't talk about it. It's
None
like
at all?
secret. Yeah, it's like I have a detune on it, but like it's not a VST. It's like hardware.
Oh, well.
It's analog. Yeah.
Oh, so you got like a dope little setup at home then?
Yeah. When I got the 808 Muffin money, I bought like a lot of shit. Yeah.
Well,
And yeah, but like back then I used like Unstable. What's it called? VST Unstable.
Yeah.
But it sounds like trash, you know. And like when you get like analog with the warm sound, it's like different.
Really?
And it gets only crazier, you know, because I can buy more stuff. And I love analog shit. Because me and Qbeats, we have like different detunes, but it's like a detune that nobody can replicate, you know. People try to make like tutorials on YouTube, like when you type in Palace melody tutorial, it pops up like 5 people made a tutorial. And it's like, I think because you only like have VSTs, you know, we all use the same VSTs, and it has almost the same sound, you know. You just can make like another preset, but it always sounds the same. But the thing with me and Qubits is like we have like this like detune that nobody has, and I really don't want to talk about this. Like it's secret, you know. Like everyone has like their secret. When you go like on the Genius stuff, sometimes they don't click on the mixer channel for this and this.
Yeah.
But it's normal, you know. You don't want to show it. But even if I will show it and tell you guys, nobody could replicate it, but because like we have different ears, you know. We take different sounds, but still like I only use like 3 things, and I don't want to tell them. From Waves, the tape machine is very good. Mondomod is very good from Waves. It makes a detune. RC22, I think, or RC20. It's like a coloring, you know. You get like a vinyl effect on it, a tape machine effect on it. Yeah, that's like probably if you want to sound it old, that's like the way to go when you have only VSTs.
So would you say that being in the music industry, you know what I'm saying, being the producer, you have to be somebody that people like?
Yeah, when
So
you're
be
not
successful?
good at networking, and when you're like an asshole and, you know, flexing all the time and shit and taking drugs, I feel like people don't gonna like you, and when people don't like you, then they don't want to use your stuff, you know. And I'm pretty sure like back then, Big Head had people that sent better samples than me, but he like really liked me personally. That's why he used it a lot. And yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you need to be like a good guy, to be honest. Like you need to be very real, you know. don't treat like somebody when you write somebody a big star or like a big producer. Don't be like, oh yeah, can I send you some shit? You know, like just be normal. Like it's a normal person. You know,
Right.
I don't get it. Like people get freaked out and and even I'm not big, but like when I meet like another producer, he's like, oh yeah, can I take a picture? You know, and I was like, bro, come on, like let's go, let's get something to drink. You know, like let's chill out. You know, and learn each other a little bit more and stuff. It was so cool, you know, because I always heard that like American artists are like, yo, they go around with chains and they're fuck that. But Juice WRLD was so fucking nice, and this was the first time I was meeting like a rapper, an US rapper, and it was so cool. It was really cool. Like we eat something together and like smoke outside, recorded some tracks, and it was so cool. It was very chill. Like it's like a good friend of you, you know. Like come on, guys. 20,000 people in a German city, white kid, 808 Mafia. Come on, guys. It makes no sense that I'm here, you know? It was not luck. It was no luck. It was meant to be like that because I really wanted to do it hard. You guys don't even know how hard I wanted it to be successful with music. I was a bad student. I had like a fucking job that I quit. I was bad at everything besides music. And yeah, I'm actually pretty lucky. It's not like, you know, like to make what I want, but it's not luck. It's just like how it works. If you want it really bad, you will get it there. Like, you know, it's like a GPS in your brain that you say like, I want to be there. But you need to trust him, you know? When you drive a car, you trust your GPS too, that it goes to the same location. Like, just think about it. You type in a street and the navigation says you need to go there. That's your feeling. But the logical thinking is like, oh, now I think I need to go there because it's faster to be on this street because the traffic is going to be there. And that the traffic is like the patience, the patience. And that's the thing. And a lot of people don't have the patience. It took me so long. Just think about it. I make music for 9 years. And it took me so long. I started when I was 13. Longest time. But I keep doing it because I had joy in it. I had love in it. I feel great making music. It's the best thing ever. You make a beat. The beat is finished. You just listen to it. You just chill and listen to it. The best feeling ever. You just created this, you know, and you feel great about something you created. I can't tell you what you need because everybody needs something different. Everybody is on another level, you know. If I say something now, it will be good for this person, but not good for this person, you know. And the best advice I can give you out is like every day, even if you have like only 1 hour free, make beats every day, and you will figure the shit out quickly. You will get your own sound. You will figure shit out. What's the best workflow for you? What's the best workflow for this guy? You know, because I'm here like in LA for the first time and see like all these big ass producers, and everyone has another workflow, and this is like something you need to taught yourself, you know. And I can tell you like the best advice. It's just make music every day. It's just like playing soccer or something. You need to play it every day to get better. You don't get it better because I just read like how Cristiano Ronaldo makes a free kick, you know. I saw a YouTube video, you know. You just need to make it, feel it, you know. You just need to experience it. You need to make a lot of mistakes. Mistakes are the best thing ever, you know.
Yeah.
I really enjoy making mistakes, to be honest, because I know, okay, this doesn't work, you know, and you figure out things for yourself. And that's the best thing, like making mistakes and learning from the mistakes. Even if you do the same mistake I did some shit that I made like the same mistake 10 times. But after the 10th time, I learned it, you know, to make it better. And that's the thing. Make mistakes, like just produce every day. You make mistakes, you learn something new, you get your own sound. And yeah, that's the thing. I can tell you like a VST. You don't need a VST. We all have the same shit. We all have Omnisphere. We all have like Nexus.
How much time you typically spend on a melody?
When I started 1 year ago, like only strictly doing samples, I needed like 1 hour for one sample. Now I push out like in 1 hour 5 samples. Like because I figured the shit out. And that's the thing, you need to do it every day. And yeah, probably when it takes me longer than 20 minutes, I just quit the FLP. I just close it. I'm like, no, it takes too long. When it takes too long, you think too much about it. It needs to come from your heart, you know. It needs to come from your soul, and just like in 10 minutes, yeah, that's it. But as I said, guys, if you make melodies out there and you need like 1 hour. That's super fine. It was for me too, you know. It's just now that I do it every day, I can make it in 10 minutes. Don't be frustrated out there, people like who produce. If you take like 1 or 2 hours, even if you take 5 hours, that's fine. I was at the same spot, you know. But don't listen to people that go on Twitter and say like, I made like 50 beats in 1 hour, you know. That's trash. Because you always compare yourself to them, and you say like, oh, I only make 2 in like 3 hours, and then you compare, and then you get frustrated. When you get frustrated, you don't spread out this good energy, and that's the thing. Be sober, work out, make your body right, make yourself feel great. Then you get more creative, and then you get like the best thing. We have all the same. We all have Instagram. You know, it's not that you guys have in America an app that we can access. You know,
Yeah.
we all have the same shit.
The American
We all have
Instagram.
the same shit. We all have the internet. We all have the same plugins. We all have the same shit. You know,
Yeah.
we all have the same things. Back then, when I lost my school, like when I quitted school because I was too bad, I was doing like smoking joints and shit. I was doing some fucked up shit, and that was the biggest low probably. And it was at the time when I lost like my ex-girlfriend back then. And then I lost my school. My parents weren't behind me anymore because I fucked up 3 schools. I didn't have a girlfriend anymore because I was a guy who did like nothing, you know. I was like a fucking loser, you know, back then. And this was the lowest point. And I really can't tell you right now how I made it out of this point, because like I was really fucked up, like always like smoking all day. And yeah, I was like, that was probably the worst part of my life, but like actually the best, because like I got out of there and I needed to experience rock bottom, you know, before I go to the top. You always need to experience it. When you're on rock bottom, you know, like it doesn't get worse. It's the best thing ever, because then you start like to get out and get to the top, and you like just like go to the top, you know. It's magical to experience it. And I experienced it like so fast in 2 years that I still can't believe that I'm sitting here with you guys right now and I'm in Los Angeles, you know? I still can't believe it. Don't get fucked up on girls, probably. And I know like hip hop music is all about, you know, the lyrics are all about drugs, but I just make the melody, you know? I can't tell you what song it will be. It could be a love song, you know? Juice WRLD recorded a love song on one of my beats.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, you know, when I make a melody, I can tell you that, oh, this is going to be like something he's going to talk about lean.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I can't decide, you know?
A lot of it, I think, is produced by people who are stuck in their heads producing, and they're not connected to the emotional like space of the song. And for me, it's like, you know, if you're like really about this and you're really, you know, determined to be the best artist you can be, then you want to create complete art, right? Meaning that it is as good as you can make it in every facet, right? And that you're not sacrificing anything, right? That, you know, you're not sacrificing it sounding amazing, right? And you're not sacrificing the sounds being awesome, and you're not sacrificing it being entertaining, and you're not sacrificing it being moving, because it can feel overwhelming. I get that. Right, but there is another side to it, right, where you start running out of things that you don't know, and it's just like all you need to do is practice those things better and get more efficient at everything, right? But there's like very like few of like the core things that you like aren't aware of and know you should be doing and like are getting better at or something like that. You know, it's just honing your craft after that point. But before that point, you know, it seems bewildering, like there's this never-ending sea of things that you have to know. And what's true is there's a never-ending sea of things you can know, right? But, you know, there's only a never-ending sea of things that you can choose to know, right? And you really don't need to know all of them.
When I make songs with like Gotham Clip with Pete, when we made Castles 2, one of the beats was like made sitting on the floor in Pete's house with no speakers. It was just my computer speakers. Finished the beat in like 20 minutes and then gave it to Pete, and then he recorded it. And it's always random, like super early in the morning, 7 o'clock, we always make a song. But then with Tracy, we'll just be in the studio at my manager's studio, Biggie, and we'll just randomly make a song. Sometimes you're not in the mood to make a song. Working with Lil Peep and Tracy, that's probably my favorite people to work with. don't go crazy over music or beats, because that shit still drives me crazy, because that's all I like. So just chill, make beats, and then also use the internet a lot. Don't worry about placement so much rather than selling beats on the internet. You'll be surprised, there's richer producers selling beats through the internet than there is producers out here getting these songs with rappers. Try to make it a job, so no stress over placements. That's what I would say.
Sometimes you don't have everything available to you. And like, for like Jeffrey, for example, I mixed the whole thing, and then the night before it came out, I get a text that's 2 or 3 pages long of notes of changes that he wants to be made. But I no longer have access to a studio. It is 3 a.m. I can't get one. And so all I have is my headphones, and I'm sitting in a hotel room, and I'm like, how am I gonna do this? Like, how? So what I ended up doing, because I knew I had to have everything done by like 11 a.m., all these changes, and it's like minuscule changes, like move this word back milliseconds, and then there's bigger changes like, okay, we need to remix this entire vocal, like you have to go back and like change this and this about it. It's all wrong. Like, it was stuff he approved, but he just changed his mind after sitting with it. And I don't have that much time because I have to turn it into mastering by 11, so that mastering can do it by like 4, so that we can turn it in before midnight, because it comes out midnight in 20 hours. So what I did was, I only had my headphones, but I needed another reference point. So I rented an Uber, and I sat in the back middle seat. And I plugged in to like the aux, and I was like, dude, turn it all the way up and raise all the windows. And he was like, no. And I'm like, please. And he's like, no. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna get out because I don't wanna go anywhere. I don't have a car, I'm in New York City. And I was like, I need a reference point. And I was like, you can drive around for a half hour and run the tab up. I don't care. Like, just go wherever. I don't care where you drop me off. I'll get on the subway and I'll go home. But like, I just need to like get this right. And so I just sat there like tweaking mixes in the Uber. And like the dude was miserable. Like, cause it's like blaring and I'm just like trying to figure out exactly what I needed to switch up in the vocal and in the beat. And I was just like, I just need to do this now. I don't have time. It's like 8 a.m. and I'd been working all night and I was like, I just need to finish this. And so I had him drive me to the 300 offices so I could play it for Lior. And I was like, I hope this is right by the time we get there. And so like, it was like a 45-minute Uber and he just like dropped me off and probably got 1 star. But it's just like, it worked. It came through and it was a strategy that like worked for me. And it's funny because I learned it from a kid that like, one of my interns didn't have a studio, didn't have a home, anything. So he just like would go and sit in his car all day and like mix in his car. He would turn his car on and like run his battery down. And like, because he didn't have home speakers and all he had was an aux cord and a laptop that he got from school. And his mixes were always great. And I was like, I'm gonna try what he did. Every single artist and every single producer you ever talk to loves their demo. Every single one. So you really gotta beat the shit out of the demo to like convince them otherwise. And like doing big, massive changes like that is a good way to get them to be like, nah, we're just gonna use the demo. Like straight up, like I've seen so many times where people are just like, why don't you just go back to the way you had it before? And it's like stuff I recorded. And I'm like, but I really like this. I'm like, no, you're just gonna have to go back to the way you had it before. All right. Simple mistakes that I see like in every new engineer is like, they don't lower the beat. They jack the vocal up. The beat's already like max, the beat's limited, the beat's hitting like peak, all that. And then they're like trying to figure out how they can get the vocal to compete. And like I said, like the easiest way to do that is just lower the beat. Like it's literally that simple. And like a lot of people don't get it, but like, cause I playlist everything. So every time I record, every time I'm done, no matter what, if it's a breath, I save it. Because God forbid I don't. I really don't like those like all-in-one vocal effect plugins that people use all the time. That I always get like the Chris Lord Algae like vocal effect plugin on something, and I'm just like, I can't stand it. First of all, I don't know what it's doing. Like, it's like shimmer. I'm like, what the fuck is shimmer? Like, I'm sorry, like I can add it, but like I really want to know exactly what's happening. And I'm like, what's shimmer, man? Like, what is that? My buddy like went in and like tried to figure out exactly what it's doing, and he was like, dude, it's like manipulating like mid-side and all this stuff, and that stuff's dangerous to mess with, especially when you don't know that you're messing with it, you know what I mean? You're like, ooh, just make it shimmer, and then you do mid-sides, you do like a mid-side bump to like you're bumping up the sides so much that when you switch it into mono, it's all gone. You know what I mean? And then so like when you're gonna play that at a club, when every club's in mono, like you know what I mean? There's a level in quality that's important to get to, right? But then at the end of the day, everything comes down to taste. You can make it work. Like it's just like it's all about like Youth Lagoon did his whole first project in his garage, like a garage, like not like a studio, like a four concrete walls. It's like, and it's an incredible project. You know what I mean? He just like, it's all about having that vision from start to finish, and like making that work. Like I always try like to stick to like, especially with what I do, is like hi-fi street music. Like it's like hi-fi, it's recorded well, it's clear, but at the same time, it's still the same people making the same type of music. You don't want it to not be that. You don't want to take that away, that quality away from the music, because then what are you gonna have? You're gonna have pop music.
I'm Jeff Ellis, and I'm a recording engineer, record mixer, and most people know my work from being Frank Ocean's engineer for the last 5 years or so. They just had me come back. They never said you're hired or like you're our guy now. It's just like, this is the way Frank is. Like, okay, now now I'm engineering this album. It's like even before Frank was famous or whatever, like you could tell something was really special. So I just wanted to be a part of that project. So like every young engineer comes to the point where they're like, well, do I leave the safety of the paycheck of the studio or do I go freelance? And I was like, well, I guess there's no time like the present. So I just took a chance, and luckily Frank had me stick around for a while. So someone like Malay could make a mix that sounded way cooler than mine, and I would be like, how is he doing this? Like, he doesn't know as much as I know about engineering and this and that. And then one day I clued in, like, wait a second, like he's coming from a place of art. And if you're wondering, Malay is a great engineer, but we're all learning. Like, he was becoming a better engineer, and now he's a fantastic engineer. But he was always a great producer, and like I'm watching the way that he was working. And I was kind of like, my mind was becoming more focused in aesthetic and vibe, not caring so much about the tech part of things. So I learned a lot from them. So I kind of started out as this little like green engineer, and bring to now, it's like I feel like I'm a completely different person now. But the biggest thing to take from all that is being around Frank in his camp is like taught me how to think like an artist rather than a technician. But yeah, I could go at length about just never let the engineering get in the way of the art, and do your best with the given knowledge that you have for the session. When you're dealing with the best players and the best musicians and great gear, as an engineer, you should be able to get a fantastic sound really quickly. And if it's taking you too long to do anything, you're just being extra, as we would say in the States. So after the album came out, everybody was telling me how great it sounded. And of course, like, whenever you do an album, you have your own insecurities about how things sound. But everybody's like, oh, it sounds so great, and this and that. I was like, well, it sounds so great because the songs are great, the arrangements are great, and then we took the time to do our best in the engineering. And yeah, you can do, if you're sitting at home watching this, like, you don't need the latest and greatest plugins. They're fun, they're really cool to try and experiment, and you can incorporate those in your workflow, and they're really, really helpful. But to make great art, you have to work with great artists and be a great artist. And my biggest takeaway with the effects of everything was that you can get it done with basic plugins. So yeah, ambience is something I'm really into. Like, the effect of ambience is such a great tool. And if you can't get it from the room itself, the UAD plugin, the Ocean Way Studios plugin is like game-changing for ambience. To me, that's like the first reverb plugin that actually modeled ambience really well. What I'm primarily doing now is mixing, so it's really important to me. It's something that I spent the last 10 years or so obsessing over. So I didn't come up under a famous mixer. Like, I was never some famous mixer's assistant. So I kind of had to invent everything on my own through trial and error. And then, you know, I'm still to this day have a Pure Mix account. Like, I go on YouTube and watch tutorials made by people less experienced than me and more experienced than me, because I'm always trying to learn as much as possible. Like, a lot of what you see here is just like what I figured out through trial and error and what works for me. And what it's kind of cool that I've done it this way. Like it has its advantages and disadvantages, but the advantages are of kind of being self-taught mixing is that you invent your own system, and whilst inventing your own system, you kind of can hopefully come up with your own kind of like vibe and sound and whatnot. So there's no international standard of how it should sound or how it shouldn't sound. So really, it's about your own personal aesthetic, and it's a battle between headroom and loudness. So the louder your 808s are, or the louder whatever your sub kick is, the quieter your stuff is going to sound on a laptop speaker that filters all that stuff out because you've used up a lot of headroom to create huge bass on a track. So you kind of have to just use your best judgment and decide. The louder the sub bass is, potentially it could distort on certain playback systems. So you have to decide if you care about that, because some of the dopest hip hop songs of all time will distort on crappy speakers unapologetically. Like, that's all part of it. You have to decide. So a lot of that is based in aesthetic. So lately I've been setting my low end to sound great in Beats by Dre headphones. Like, I know that sounds crazy if you're coming from like a staunch engineering background, but like that's what people are listening to your music on. Who knows how similar or different that is from everybody else? I don't really know, because I kind of came up doing this myself, so.